Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, the President's economic advisor pushes for selective quarantine beyond April 30. This is to give the business sector a chance to bounce back. Also, we get to know how to help micro, small, and medium enterprises reeling from the COVID-19 impact. Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship and Go Negosyo founder Joey Concepcion joins us live. And later, Philippine colors on frontliners. A Mindanaoan fashion designer honors medical health workers with protective suits inspired by the country's flag. How will life pick up again after the quarantine? The government's game plan on a new normal beyond April 30th is slowly taking shape. Included are the possible resumption of public transportation system and identification of industries that will be allowed to operate again. Meanwhile, the business sector is calling for a selective quarantine after April 30, shifting from Luzon-wide to a barangay-based lockdown. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship and Go Negosyo founder Joey Concepcion. Secretary Concepcion, welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Pinky.
We are supposed to end the six-week quarantine on April 30. Just right now, can the economy still take a possible extension on the whole of NCR, or is it imperative that we go on a more relaxed quarantine period?
When the third reset ends towards the end of the month, sometime April 29, definitely the economy has to come back. Social amelioration cannot continue forever. A lot of micro, small, and medium enterprises are greatly affected as we speak today. And the proposal of a selective quarantine starting at the barangay level is very essential. When the president said that he will not lift the quarantine until a cure is found for the virus, that is correct. We cannot not have a system or a structure that will guard us against a possible return of the virus. Assuming that we've brought the numbers really down and everything goes back, there is always a threat. So the structure that we have proposed will allow greater vigilance at the barangay level. You have to start at the smallest community, and that's key to the whole strategy. And if it gets worse at the barangay level, then you move up higher and higher to the city, municipality, and provincial level. And hopefully the IATF will come out with a very clear areas of duties and responsibilities and areas of authority that LGUs will not and stick within the rules of the game. And this will allow commerce to continue. And that's essential because we cannot just stay at home for the next months. It will not work this way. So it has to be a balance between health and the economy.
Okay, the recommendations, as you mentioned, the first would be selective quarantine, which could cover first barangay, municipal, city, or even a provincial level. What are the factors that you're seeing that would determine a lift of quarantine in certain areas, a more relaxed one, and where a factor should be there is quarantine in a particular barangay or city?
So let's give an example. In Quezon City, it's one of the highest cases. So I don't know if they have quarantined the barangays that are affected. No, that's important. They should identify the barangays that are affected. Now, if predominantly a lot of the barangays already are affected, then they should take it up to the city level, which they have done. No, I don't know if the entire city is under quarantine. So you've got also Manila, I'm told, that has a high infection level. So the idea is that there are big barangays that are highly compressed, no, and there are barangays that have bigger homes. So you don't necessarily even have to lock down a barangay. You can lock down a house. You can lock down a street. and then you move higher. The idea of focus is to be able to determine where the virus is. So this comes in the other recommendation we have is with mass screening. Mass screening has to be done to be able to create visibility where the enemy is or where the virus is. And you start at the barangay level because that's where the source of all the infection starts from. No?
Mhm.
So you're better focused. No? So that's the second
Yeah.
recommendation we gave the president, of which he approved immediately on that same day.
Secretary, aren't we supposed to first go to massive rapid testing and then go to selective quarantine, whether it be barangay, municipal, city, or provincial level?
Right now, as we speak, we are already locking down Luzon, we're knocking down provinces, we're locking down some barangays. We have to start with the structure. The screening, the test kits are, the PCR based system is still scaling up. It's going to take a while because of the
Mhm.
security, the hazard level. That's going to be a challenge. So the rapid test kits were the ones approved by the president that will be deployed. Now, by the time we order all of these rapid test kits, this thing will only start by May. We're trying to do some pilot tests in Quezon City right now, but we're waiting for the test kits because America is getting all the test kits as we
Uh-huh.
speak. So we're faced with that
Okay.
challenge right
So
now.
other recommendations would be allowing, right. Other recommendations would be allowing certain sectors to proceed. I think how you mentioned it was on a demand basis. So what sectors are we looking at? Manufacturing, construction?
Well, we've requested that the government allows manufacturing on a demand basis. What do I mean that? Of course, the essentials are on a demand basis right now. There's a lot of demand for food, for medicines, and all of that. So, given that's already allowed at this point in time, but there's certain sectors that may have
Opo.
a demand at this point. So, we should allow these companies to start manufacturing. Anyway, we have seen it. Now, power rates have dropped by 40%. So technically, manufacturing has dropped also by that much. No? So we should not categorize anymore essential or non-essential. I think we should allow services to start already. The repair
Mhm.
services that people have to repair their appliances, their homes, and all of that. That's that's part of construction,
I
but
see.
it's really on the service level, no. And
Understandable. Okay. And then the next one is keep mass gatherings limited. Does that mean malls can open, but they can only take in a certain number of customers at a time?
Well, to complete that other sentence, I also requested that construction, especially government infrastructure projects that are about to be completed already, I wish they could start because that can generate employment. There's certain construction that they may allow, but that's up to them. Maybe the construction in the provincial areas, which the infection levels are low, maybe they can allow this construction to start. Now, on mass gatherings, our request is to allow malls to start
Mhm.
opening gradually in this month of May. No, the malls will not open all of a sudden. I mean, they'll open gradually. I think they'll start where they see that there is demand for people to go and visit. The essentials will be first, but I think the mall owners have a good judgment on how to manage the crowd. I mean, they've talked to me that they will put all of this uh, mask requirement that nobody can enter the malls without a mask, with
Mhm.
temperature checking and all of that stuff. So we also agree with the government that schools should be suspended till September, and all areas of mass gatherings, bars, entertainment, all of that should remain closed for the time being. Maybe they should consider allowing the restaurants to open already that are outside the malls and all along the streets, provided that they have practiced social distancing and the wearing of
Right.
masks.
Yeah. Secretary Joey, I believe it is in Hong Kong, I heard, sir, that actually restaurants there are allowed to open, except that there is definitely social distancing. For example, if the restaurant has a capacity of 80, they allow about 40 customers at a time. Do you think something like that can work here?
Yes, definitely. Of course, every restaurant will have to cut their capacity by 50% from to be able to practice social distancing. But they have food takeouts, they have food
Mhm.
deliveries. So it will be supplemented by that. Actually, the food takeouts and food deliveries have grown really rapidly now. It's a phenomenal growth for that. So restaurants can
Yeah.
also exist with food deliveries and food takeouts, but it would be good that if they were allowed to open their stores and practice social distancing, and they will basically cut that down by about 50%
Hmm.
of people. No.
Right. Secretary, what about retail? For example, shops for clothes and other beauty items. Should those open? Can those open?
Yes, I think eventually those will open in time. I think they right now the priority of people are really the essential items, and people are saving their money because they see that this is we're going to go through a very turbulent period right now. We are going to see maybe a next wave of cutback of people because right now many are holding to their loyal and core people. No, but if the businesses will have to close longer, definitely they will not be able to have. Some will not have enough working capital to keep these employees. No? The bigger ones, the large corporations, and that are doing well, and
Mm-mm-mm.
the larger, they will be able to withstand that. But the moment we let go of our core people, then it's going to be very hard for many of these people to get them back and restart. It will take a little bit longer. So there's still a bit of time, but if this is extended too much, then I don't think many will be able to hold on to core, what I say, key people, no, core people.
Right. Secretary, I just want to end this topic by asking you if, in the event government extends this quarantine, for example, sir, for another 2 weeks, can the economy take it?
Well, let's put it this way. I don't think the government will extend it as a status quo today under the enhanced community act. There will be a relaxation. I am almost certain of that. But if they do otherwise, it's going to be very challenging for a lot of micro and small entrepreneurs. Even if Secretary Sani Dominguez has allowed, he's guaranteeing now 50% of the loans that the banks will lend to MSMEs. If they default, 50% of that will be covered during the COVID period. But the viability of many of these businesses will be. I'm an entrepreneur, so I know who can make it and who will not. So
Yeah.
many banks will look at the
Yeah.
business model, and if the business model is
Yeah.
shaken, and they have no money and they don't have a market, those are essentials being an entrepreneur. You have to have funding and you have to have a market. And if that's not existent and it's
Yeah.
continuing for an indefinite period of time, then you cease to be viable, and you will definitely have to close, or else you will eat up into your personal savings, and that would not be good.
Absolutely, Secretary Joey. That's why I want to go to MSMEs. I know you have a lot to say about this. Looking at the businesses operating in the Philippines, there are about 1 million businesses here, and 99.52% are MSMEs. I also looked into the data of the a business group as well. Let me get back to you on that a little later on. 90% of businesses are micro and small, 8% are medium, and 2% are large. So my first question on the MSME, sir, is that government is allowing a package of about, I think, 50 billion for these employees. First and foremost, how many employees are we talking about when we're looking into the MSME sector?
I have not really counted the number of employees, but 99.6% are micro and small. Many of them are, mom and pop stores that employ their own family members that run it. But Pinky, there's also a good number of these retail micro stores that are in the right essential areas. Now, many of them are sari-sari stores, wet markets, palenques, food,
Opo.
this and carinderias. They're allowed to operate, as we speak. And that's bulk of the MSM, and that's micro and small. No, the service side is the one that's hit. The retail side is the one that's hit. No, so those guys are going to be
Right,
fine because
right.
they're going to be fine. No? But maybe I want to add to that. Secretary Sani
So as I
Dominguez
was
has a
saying a while, go ahead, sir.
Secretary Sani has 100 billion, I think, package for the MSMEs, which is going to be deployed. No, that will help. But in the end, if you don't operate, whatever money that you get, you will just be burning it. And our advice to many of our entrepreneurs is actually to conserve your cash in during these times. So they will have to let go their employees first,
Mhm,
and then eventually they'll be letting go their core employees, and they will
mhm.
just have to uh, hold on and see whether when this clears, whether they will be able to restart
Yeah.
their business or not. No?
And I understand that problem, Secretary Concepcion, because I have a number of friends who have, small or medium enterprises who are saying that they can't seem to keep, they don't have enough money anymore to keep their operation going or to keep paying their employees. Actually, that's why I wanted to ask you, in essence, how many employees belong to the MSME sector. However, we don't have that number right now. You know, this is the driving force of the economy, sir, MSMEs. And at some point, with having to balance, sir, the safety measures and the health situation in the country, these MSMEs really have to begin thriving and they have to begin operating soon.
Yes, that's right. Now the question goes back, which is, the question that people ask, which is more important, life or money? And I always tell people that, of course, life is important, as well as the economy, because if the economy dies, then lives of people will be affected, and eventually their health and hunger will come across. No, so so we have to balance both of these concerns between health and the economy. Now, our president is a very good president, and he's very street smart. If he did not lock down much as he did very early on the game, we would be in a mess, a total mess. Now, I'm glad that
Mm-hmm.
he approved the rapid test kits for screening. Again, he said, okay, regardless of whatever law this is, if he's not allowed to do it, he's going to do it even if they put him in jail. So you see that kind of a president. So now he's concerned of our MSMEs, and that's very clear. And in the end, I'm sure the IATF and the president will make the right judgment in balancing what is good for the health and what is good for the economy as well. And that's why we also requested one other important thing is to allow
Mm-hmm.
public transportation. Public transportation has to resume in May, not
Right.
full, but at least start with the government-owned trains, no, the MRT and LRT, and allow public transportation in the provincial areas. No? Without
Yeah.
public transportation, business cannot thrive because employees cannot go to work, production people cannot go to work. So
Yeah.
we also requested that
There's no mobility.
the security checkpoints have to be removed. That will allow better movement of goods, supply, and services. No? So that's a big
Okay.
request that we're doing.
All right, let's see what the decision of the president will be, and definitely the recommendation of the interagency task force. Secretary Joey Concepcion, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pinky.
Patriotic protective gear for heroes in the COVID war. Later, we talk to the designer who created personal protective equipment, or PPEs, inspired by the country's colors. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. More and more fashion designers are creating unique protective personal equipment for our modern day heroes. Take a look at this design by Guela Ampong, a fashion designer based in Cagayan de Oro City. These PPEs are inspired by the Philippine flag. Guela knows what medical workers need to boost their spirits as they do their jobs. That's because she was a nurse before becoming a designer. She teamed up with her friend Dr. Jamila Watamama for the project. So, what's the story behind their collaboration? Let's go straight to the sources of the story. We have Guela Ampong and Dr. Jamila Watamama. All right,
Hi, good
Guela and Dr.
morning.
Watamama, welcome to the show. So, good morning. Thank you for being here. A number of designers are helping out frontliners with PPEs. Yours takes inspiration from the Philippine flag. How did this come about, Guela?
Actually, at first, sa pag-isipan ko kung gawin siya kasi it's a tribute for for all the Filipinos who are fighting right now through COVID. Napag-isipan ko, since I'm making a design for a PPE for the doctors and nurses and all for the frontliners, nagawa ko siya since nang una pa lang, nakita ko tong kaibigan ko si Doc Jam, na nagpapanik na siya. Yung unang paglapit niya sa akin, yung nararamdaman mo yung parang kaba, yung parang, kumbaga yung parang kaba na parang di mo siya, o parang wala ng source, kumbaga nawawala ng hope since kulang tayo ng mga materials that time. So, yung effort niya pa lang, makikita mo na kailangan natin gawin to para at least na makatulong tayo sa mga frontliners. Bakit ko siya nagawa? Since I consider my friend as a hero and as a modern hero, yung totoong hero na nakikita natin in the reality, sila yung mga frontliners. So, napag-isipan ko siya gawin since parang inantulad ko na lang, kinumpara ko siya, inantulad ko nga sa isang COVID warrior siya. So, since that we are Filipinos, di ba? Since we are Filipino nga, so parang andun yung pagiging makabayan natin. Kumbaga, this time, kailangan natin buuin yung unity. Oo. Ayun po.
So, let me ask Dr. Jam. Dr. Jam, how did you help? Paano ka nakatulong dito sa collaboration? And is this PPE single-use, disposable ba ito? Pwedeng gamitin ulit?
Yes, actually, this was already approved by the DOH. They have the pattern and the cloth is the taffeta with silver lining. And nagkataon, kulang na talaga yung material, yung nakukuha namin na supply. So since I know na wala naman siyang ginagawa this time, lumapit ako sa kanya. Sabi ko, why don't you help me? Baka kaya, wala din naman trabaho yung mga seamstress. Baka kaya natin ma-produce yung ano ba yun, the suit.
The suit.
So, happy naman ako when
PPE.
we tried first. Yeah. Nung first namin na ginawa, naging successful naman siya. And then, with the help of so many generous friends, my friends, they helped me with the donation drive. Bali, the initiative was from me. I gave the pattern to Guela.
Okay.
And then the rest is history na.
Yes, po.
So yung fund, this is about, tama ba, 500 pesos for one PPE? Kasi meron kayong donate one PPE and save a frontliner.
Yes po, about that 500 pesos po, it is ano siya, parang it is a equivalent of ng isang PPE natin na ginagawa. So parang ginawa na lang ng mga nagda-drive or nagka-conduct ng tulong na 500 pa. Kumbaga, ito na yung para sa isang makakabuo tayo ng isang PPE po. Kasama na din yung bayad doon sa mga sastre na
gumawa.
Yes po.
And yes, this is washable.
Ay, ang galing. Okay. Pero Dr. Jam, go ahead. Washable.
Yes, it is washable. It can be disinfected actually. Using pa rin yung zone
Very good. Para magamit siya over and over again. Yeah. So, Dr. Jam, I wanted to know, nung ginawa niyo tong collaboration na to with the Philippine flag, how does it actually help the frontliners? I mean, I can understand my sense of pride, ano? You're so proud to wear something like this, donning the colors of the Philippine flag. Pero, kumbaga psychologically, how did this help our frontliners?
Siguro, sabi nga ni Guela, it can boost our morale, di ba? At this time, the Filipino people and worldwide, talagang very down ang moral namin. Especially na marami ng doctors na namamatay. At so this time, even nurses, marami na kaming mga almost 30 na ang namatay sa amin. So at least parang, if you see the suit with the Philippine flag, parang mabubuhayan ka eh. Sabi ko, the Filipinos are resilient. Kaya-kaya natin. Whatever it is na dumaan sa atin, di ba, dumaan ang lahat ng bagyo, lahat ng lindol. bumabangon tayo. So it's something that we can uplift the spirit of the frontliners, especially me as a doctor.
Okay, Guela, I need to ask you as a last question. The colors are blue, red, yellow, and white, and I know it represents something. Pakisabi nga sa amin, ano ang ibig sabihin ng blue, ng red, ng yellow, at ng white?
Okay, since that it is inspired by our Philippine flag, of course, as what you can see right now, yung mga nangyayari ngayon, parang ginawa ko siyang realistic yung mga heroes, kumbaga. It reflects to our doctors, kumbaga. Parang sila yung naging, kumbaga real heroes na parang kailangan kong gumawa ng isang inspirasyon. Since parang yung tapang nila na harapin itong COVID na to, kailangan nilang harapin to using this suit, kumbaga. Kumbaga, yeah, parang siyang, it's like a real superheroes nga, di ba? Nagsusuot sila ng suit. So, yun. The blue for the PPE, I guess it is a peace, harmony, and unity ng mga Pilipino. Since gano'n naman tayo mga Pinoy, sa mga panahon na kailangan natin yung bawat isa, andun sila, di ba? So, that is the blue. And then, yung red naman, maraming nagtatanong. Actually, I read some of the comments during the time that CNN posted kagabi, di ba? Marami akong nabasa about bakit yung red nasa taas? Bakit ganito ganyan? Of course, I'm going to answer this now. Red, why is it, pag nakita mo yung PPE na to, nasa giyera tayo laban sa COVID. Yung giyera na hindi natin nakikita yung kalaban, na kailangan natin siyang labanan, na dapat tayong lahat na andyan para sa isa't isa bilang Pilipino, bilang Pinoy. Yellow naman is resilience. Meaning to say, we are survivors by nature, mga Filipino. Yung isang laban, hindi natin binitawan, di ba? That's what our heroes are. Parang yung tulad sa mga heroes na kailangan, yung parang kumbaga, survivor tayo, hindi natin to kailangan basta na lang bitawan tong laban na to. And then the white, meaning to say purity, being a Filipino heart, meron tayong napakagaan na loob para tumulong sa bawat isa, bawat Pilipino. Ayun po. Yun yung tinatawag nating bayanihan.
Wow, very well said, Guela. I'm sorry. Oh, we've run out of time, Guela. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat sa iyo. And to Dr. Jam Watamama, also, thank you so much for your service. Gaya na sabi ni Guela, you are our modern-day hero. Thank you so much to the two of you, and thank you for joining us here on The Source. Bye, I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.